Well, you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know,
My question is, why is this buffering? Oh man. I don't know how this thing. I've got buffering like that. That is absolutely. Again, why is this so difficult? Okay. At the speakers. So it's playing through the external speaker right now. I have the auxiliary speakers plugged in, and they're not active. You could hear that power. Just plugged in these headphones. All right, all right, all right. Well, it is what it is. Hey, everybody. Yeah. So let's see. I don't know if I can invite people. Copy this. I don't want this to pop up. All right. Share screen, share entire screen, if that's necessary. Boom. All right, so now I'm going to drop this down over here. So what I'm doing right now is trying to work through spirituality, and I was watching the Gnostic Academy, which is created by Marty Leeds, and I was watching his presentation, and it just triggers my mind to just start trying to process things. And so what I'm trying to do for myself right now is establish a primary understanding for how to, let's see, I gotta change fonts for whatever OCD reason. I hate Arial font. Right. All right. So how to understand, right, one's existence and purpose in being alive. How to understand one's existence and purpose in being alive, right? So you exist, okay? I'm alive, here I am. Now what? Right? I am here now, present moment. Now what? So now you're here. What is it now that you are supposed to do? How are you supposed to occupy your time? If I've spent November, December, January till now, and until the foreseeable future, I have not been employed. I have been responsible. Well, when I was employed, I was still responsible for myself, but it was through the dependence upon the restaurant where I was the bartender, right? So I still had to get up and go to work and earn the money that I would need to sustain myself. And so then I walked away from that in trying to see, hold on just real quick. Has anybody shown up? 9 minutes and I'm talking to nobody. It's just the way it is. So the thing that I did in October was I started to publicly present my product of grooming elements for men and women. And I've been pushing that since then. I've been just simply selling to friends and to strangers at craft shows. I've only been to two last year, November and December. And so I made contact that way. What's interesting, okay, just a complete disclosure, full disclosure, I have gotten 0 responses back from people who said, "Do you have a business card?" I've given them my business card. Nothing. So then I'm a little bit distracted right now as I'm talking through the principal ideas of operating one's livelihood, right? So then I don't necessarily have to have a business card printed up again. I don't need to have that expense because I haven't seen any dividends. I have not seen any payoffs. So yesterday I was at the post office and there was a king behind me, and I had this impetuous, impulsive, intuitive sense to ask him, "Hey, you got your honey a Valentine's Day gift yet?" And he says, "No." So I says to him, "Well, that's a good thing because I got something here for you to take into consideration." So I pull out two of my parlones, the first of which was Shocked, SHAWCT, simply having a wonderful Christmas time. And that was the holiday fragrance that I created for Parlones. And I let him sample that. And then I also had an other one called Raspberry Stardust, which is a tribute Parlone to Prince and David Bowie and my friend here in Southern Colorado, Kaylin. Hey, Kaylin. She is a billiardier, as am I. And while we were compatriots, while I was working at Stiano as the bartender, she has a pool cue called Prince Bowie. So I was mowing the lawn one day last year, and I had this thought in my mind of creating a new sigil that is a mashup of David Bowie, Prince, and I should just pull it up right now. Now that I'm thinking about it. Yes. Yeah. All right. So let me do this over here. I'm live. I'm on mute. That's that. Let me put you. Hold on. Let me mute my mute. Yay! There's still nobody here. Hey, oh no, that's me. I'm the one person watching right now. Awesome. Hey, oh no, that's me. I'm the one person watching. All right. So the question becomes, yeah, I think that the the system that I'm looking at right now with StreamYard is it's not this um, built-in program to depreciate and be devalued. It's that they let you come in with a free service, and then right. So to a certain extent, I mean, the cross pollination of this analogy is to refer to Chat GPT. Chat GPT is free. However, if you are trying to do something that is a heavy load of information, like say, for instance, create a video or create an image or more than one image, you have to pay for speed because the free version is a slow thinking version, right? It's like dial up. You can go away, make a cup of coffee, come back, and your image still isn't rendered. However, if you pay them $20 a month, oh, then then that's the whole marketing thing, right? Like you have to create a product, right? You have to create a product. just make that product a flat rate that you need to survive, not to indulge yourself in extravagant just debauchery, right? You don't need, right, a 20,000 foot square house or mansion or whatever. Like, you don't need that, right? This is the place wherein I exist right now. It's very small. It's the smallest I've ever, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was in a one bedroom one time. It was still pretty small, but anyway, I mean, it was all electric stove, and this is electric stove, and it's just, so I've eliminated certain things from my life so that I can have money in other areas that I want to enjoy and experience and expand my horizons, so to speak. I don't know, I have this on. A second. Now, I don't know if I'm having deja vu right now or a memory, which could be deja vu. Hey, there's 2 people watching. Please say hi. Please say hi. Hello. Hello. Can you see me? Hello. You gonna say hi to me? I'm a lonely boy. I ain't got a home. I ain't got a girl. I ain't got a man. I ain't got a dog. I ain't got a friend. Hey, if you're still out there, number 2 viewer, of which number 1 is I, would you please hit that Fonzarelli, smash that like, or smash the dislike, whichever, right? Your being here is triggering the algorithm, but I need you, right? Why are you here right now? Why are you not saying hello to me right now? Do you not know me? If you don't know me, please introduce yourself. Are you subscribed to me? How did you find a channel? Did you just come here because it's live? What are you looking for? Unless you're an AI bot. I mean, like, why are you not communicating as a human being right now? I just don't get it. Have zero comprehension. If you're still here listening to the sultry sound of my voice and you're not in the chat saying hi to me, I don't get that. That just does not make sense to me. All right, so I'm just going to go with where I'm at right now. How to understand one's existence and purpose and being alive. Like, it's such a weird idea to talk about this as if it's just not common knowledge. But if you look at YouTube and if you look at the prolific amount of propaganda for self-help, for personal development over the past 125 years, 26 years, the last full 20th century with Freud and Skinner and Jung and all of those psychological, like, the way that I understand history at this point is that the past was much, 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 much more developed technologically, metaphysically, right? Where we live, when we live right now, is a mythological representation of the Matrix, of the Truman Show, of They Live, of every other kind of conspiracy or reality revealing. Maybe I can piggyback off of my buddy Derek's creative idea today to refer to the sky as the lux computatio, the computation of light. I like that. Right? We live in a world where we only experience other people and nature. We live in a world where we only experience other people and nature. Physically, you are only in one location at one time at any given point, right? You cannot be everywhere at the same time physically. So you're limited. So then if I'm limited right now and I look out my door and I can see trees that are, yards and meters away, I don't know anything else that's going on right now. But I live in a world where I'm influenced by society and existence at large, nature. So if I live in this place where nature above and society below, but nature's below as well because you're standing on the earth, and then but you have this concept of your existence. Here I am. I'm alive here now. Now what? So going back to what I was saying before about October being a transition where I started to put myself into a situation where if I didn't have any sales, I didn't have any food, and I just went without. And I intentionally did that as a test and a trial, and I'm still going through that. I'm still practicing that. And so I'm only making enough right now to barely, compared to other people, it's like, wow, how are you doing that? Or it's like, or why are you doing that? Because everything that we do is a choice of our desire at that moment. And, say for instance, if I wanted to say, have you ever played billiards? No. Would you like to? No. That's the kind of idea that I'm trying to communicate in terms of when we're ready for something, we will do it. So a person who says, I don't want to play billiards. I don't have a desire to play billiards, and so I'm not going to. Absolutely free will, right? That is your choice. I think, however, that billiards is amazing as a discipline. And it has been very transformative for myself in the past few months. And as I have existed on as minimally as possible, as I have existed as minimally as possible, I've been afforded the freedom to have access to a billiards table for up to 5 hours a day. And I've taken advantage of that as much as I can on a daily basis. And I have discovered a demon within that I am exercising. And as Jesus said to his disciples when they asked him, why couldn't we cast out that demon? And Jesus said, these kinds can only be exorcised by fasting and prayer. And so for the past 4 months, I have been fasting to a degree. It's very interesting to think about it now this way. This is the first time I'm expressing this in any fashion. I have been fasting and praying, and that demon is being more and more exorcised. But yesterday, that fucker came out, that Smurfer came out and was just pissing vinegar all over my billiard earring. And I was just like, get the Smurf out of my mind. Right? I'm here to play billiards as a 53-year-old man against a buddy of mine who's older than I am and very good at billiardeering. He's a billiardier. I don't even know if that's a word right now. I'm going to look that up because I just created that as I don't play pool. I shoot billiards. I am a billiardier. Is that a word? Billiardier. Does that word exist? I don't think it does. It's not coming up at all. How would I spell billiardier? Entrepreneur, billiardier, billiardier. It would just be engineer, right? Engineer is 2 E's and an R. So why wouldn't billiardier have 2 D's? A billiarder. Is that a word? No. So what do you call someone who plays billiards? Pool shark? What do you call someone who plays? Hey Siri, what is someone who plays billiards called? Right? Okay, simply a player, a billiard player, or a pool player, right? So then that's 2. So call a billiardier. I'm a billiardier. That's it. I just coined a word, man. Oops. There you go. I'm still not seeing any traffic in here, man. This is fucking crazy. Smurfing crazy. I cannot even stand or believe that I haven't had any traffic at all. I am just dumbfounded, man. And there still says that there's 2 people. Is there someone watching or not? Are you the same person? Are you a freaking Smurfing troll? You're creeping me out. Creeping me out, man. Still, nobody's here. Please, like, I don't even get you. Like, you're not even human, so whatever. All right, let's get back to important things. Where was I doing this? There we go. All right. Coined a term. Billiardier. Billiardier. So the thing that I'm trying to express right now is that billiarding has created within me a Sisyphusian boulder that I am now wrestling against. Right? I'm pushing this massive boulder that's getting smaller and smaller because that element of negativity that the previous program is running, I see the correlation between an android or an automaton as a metaphor for your existence. Okay, it's metaphorical. Okay, the way artificial intelligence is depicted in the movies when they give it personality, as in the 2 movies that are coming to my mind right now, I think both of them were in the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, where he, I think, goes before Congress to be treated as equals to humanity, and he's a robot. Okay. And then you have the movie AI, which might be early 2000s, but anyway, it's got Haley Joel Osment from the Sixth Sense, who is an AI child who takes the place of a child who's perished, and the family is learning how to love an automaton. And but the twist on this is that his programming is created so that he learns how to become human. Feelings. Ha 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 ha. Now you watch him and he laughs, but he laughs like a socially awkward person because he's not human. And yet that's very much the way we are shaped in our existence from the womb. We learn and mimic and we program, right? So I had this realization about my character who always over accentuated pain to be comedic or to just be, I don't know, dismissive of the pain. You know, so if I stub my toe, how do I react? With self-control. If I'm in traffic and somebody cuts me off, how do I react? With self-control. When I'm playing billiards and I miss a shot that was completely makeable, I lose my shit, curse, and just ejaculate negative energy. And I'm putting a stop to that. I'm putting a stop to that. But what's interesting about that is that it's not a switch for me right now, but it can be. It's not a switch that you could just turn off. Right now, I'm developing a strength against this demon. So the question becomes, where and how can I find that switch to just turn off the demon and be done? Like, gone, right? Because I've cast it out. I've said, get thee behind me, Satan. And I've said, get away from me, mother smurfer, because I don't want to feel this way right now. Like, I don't know how to feel. Like, I don't know why you're stirring up all this just like down feeling of I'm playing billiards and I love playing billiards because I love the details of those connections, of those elements of contact. I don't know why, but I love the geometry and the physics of billiarding. I just love it. But it's now a correlation and an analogy to my spiritual development because playing this physical game is affecting me spiritually. Heart, soul, mind, and strength. You know, whatever other interior concept you want to attribute to your existence, right? How do you refer to yourself? I. Who are you? I am. No. That's God's name. Yeah, right. I am. This is just so obvious to me that humanity is more than simply physical existence. There is a physical and metaphysical aspect to our existence. There is both physical and metaphysical. Metaphysical, right? You guys know what meta means, right? Beyond the physical. What is that? the sky. The sky is beyond the physical. I can't get there. Can you? Have you been there? So that which is above, right? Just imagine, this is so beautiful in my mind. And I want to be fucking smurfing David Lynch kind of John Carpenter. Those are both psychological horror. Like who else? Sergio, whatever, spaghetti westerns. Just this Richard Linklater waking life depiction of reality. If all you have is yourself and the sky and others and flora and fauna, what would it look like if you could create two different ideas here that I'm throwing out again into the universe? Because I don't have the ambition to make this happen. These are just my ideas that I'm spitballing out there. But if you think about reality TV, how interestinger would it be to have a reality show where you have families that allow the camera to come in and reveal their social dynamic as a family, right? No scripting, no control. Like this is just raw. Like, honestly, like there's not going to be any nudity. There's not going to be any invasion of privacy. There's going to be public access in this concept that I'm spitballing right now. So you have public access. By the way, I just got texted. My billiarding buddy just said noon. Absolutely! Exclamation point. And by the way, I was just live streaming, which I still am. And this is being recorded right now as I'm dictating into my phone. I was just talking to my audience of one about my love of billiards, and I created a new term. Are you ready for it? And this term does not exist. I just Googled it and looked it up. It does not exist. Until now. Billiard ear. Still being offered as a correction. Where was I? Got interrupted. As above, so below. We are out in okay, yeah, I'm totally all over the place, but that's the way it is. It's just the way it is, man. You know what I mean? So we have this reality show of families who are intentional, right? They are raising their children to be spiritually and personally developed as young as possible. Now, every stage of development in humanity, you cannot. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a classroom of 7-year-olds? Are they all on the same playing field? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever I said, intellectually. No. That's how delicate life is. You cannot I guess make a dynamic equivalent in the ratio of a 1-to-1, right? Everybody learns in a particular way. And you can put 30 people into a classroom and then just teach in one particular way, which is the style. But I don't see education formal. Education is subjective and ambiguous because you just simply let the child tell you what it wants to know, what it wants to do. And then your responsibility as a kindergartner, you're the gardener of your kinder, correct? You see that? You're a child gardener. You're a gardener of children. A parent is a gardener of children. And that's pretty beautiful. That means you have to prune. That means you have to water. That means you have to aerate. That means that you have to love. That means that you have to encourage and strengthen. And all of that happens in the dynamic of human existence, regardless of whether or not we're thinking about it, because the way that we are, the way that we exist, again, there is no God. There is no God. There's no God, but awareness. Because that's all you are, is aware. I think, therefore I am. It's so simple. You know, to me, the way people all we have is our own mind. Everything that you are 24/7 is mind. So everything that you know, regardless if, okay, I know my Jeep is in the front yard parked on the street. I know that. I can somewhat kind of see flashes of images of that position in my mind right now. My mind is creating these little snapshots of, oh yeah, I could totally render that concept in your mind like a dream. So what is that in your mind? What is that space? That's the metaphysical. Because the metaphysical is able to represent to you reality when you are asleep. And when you have a dream, your NPC dreaming self, your innie, if you're not lucid, you're asleep while you're dreaming. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? Because I have no audience. No one's saying hello to me. Like, I'm just talking because no one else is here to have a conversation with me. So why do we dream? Why do we dream? What is a dream? Why is that? It is an undeniable experience that is so difficult to distinguish or differentiate from reality, because sometimes it feels like a memory when it was a dream, which means you had an experience that wasn't physical. So when you go to sleep and your physical self goes to sleep, I'm trying to think of something, I don't know, more profound. I don't know. When you're, the one thing that is always on is your mind. Your mind is always on. Always. It's like the sun in the sky. When the sun is in your presence, there is only light. It's not night. It's only day. Now, there are shadows and all that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to say that in terms of when this source of light, when the moon is as a source of light, as a source of light, the moon shares half of her time in the day as well as the night. So the moon is not the source of the night. However, the sun is the source of the daylight and the night, because the night is the absence of the day. And that which remains is a darker energy of light still. Darkness in its opacity, right? I walked outside this morning and I just was inhaling ether. I was just inhaling heart and earth and light and energy. And I was looking toward the rising of the sun, the ingressing of light. Because right there at the horizon, it was white. And then it got bluer and bluer, and then it got indigo, and it got purple, and it got pitch black, and then the night was still behind me, right? Night was in the west, because Solaris is now coming from the east, right? But if you're out in the middle of the wilderness with no ambient light except for the sky, you can see. Darkness isn't the absence of light. Darkness is simply a different frequency of vibration. I'm just going to take a stab at it. Hey, I've been live streaming just talking about philosophical things, and there's nobody in my audience, and I've got no one to talk to. Do you want to hang out with me and be a part of my live stream, and we'll just talk about philosophical ideas? Okay, so we exist, right? But I'm alive, here I am, I exist, but why? What am I supposed to do now? So that becomes a part of your transformation from the beginning of your consciousness. We live in an environment of quantum metaphysical, I don't even know, right? It's getting warm in here. Let me see what I'm. The thing is, it's so cold outside. I want to leave the fire the way it is. Yeah, so I'm going to let the fire die out because I think the day is going to be as nice as it's been recently, which is short sleeved outside once the, once midday happens. But okay, so we're talking about let me go here real quick. Bible. My experience Yeah, I mean, like 8 years old. I remember, I have memories. I can see it in my mind's eye right now. These little, right? It's just like if I don't pay attention to it, like that's the thing, right? Here we go, just over. What I'm trying to, I've said this before, the whole magical spell of quantum mechanics isn't very complicated because we experience those kinds of differentiations between the polarities of existence, right? We have male and female sexes. We have masculine, feminine energies, which belong to both sexes. When you are created in the moment of, like, where did you read this, Travel? I didn't have to read it anywhere. It's just metaphysically conceptual and it makes sense. Are you ready for it? When your father and your mother come together and you are created in that moment of explosive energy, because that's how you got there, out of explosive life-giving energy, right? I have actually a physiological affiliation to that right now. That's interesting. That moment you are created, that's when your awareness is attached to this cellular, biologically, analogically cellular. I mean, what is it? It's like an antenna automaton, right? Because there are so many aspects of our existence that affect us naturally. In terms of minerals, you've got phosphorus, you've got zinc, you've got magnesium, you have iron, you have all of these important elements to our bodies that have only been, in my experience, correlated with the sky, because the experience of everyone in the past, when I was referring earlier to thousands of years ago, how technology and physiology and metaphysics was much, much, much more developed. And by that, what I mean is that if you want to think about the concept of what a Jedi Master is and what a Jedi Master can do with reality, that's real. Okay? It is. If that is too much for your mind, if that just boggles your mind that I would say something so challenging to what we would be like, that's like saying that Santa Claus is real. That's like saying that the earth is a sphere in this infinite vacuum of space. That's how absurd what I'm saying sounds. I used to believe that we were traveling through the infinite architecture of the vacuum of space on a spinning oblate spheroid. I used to believe that until I determined for myself I don't believe that anymore. And I'm perfectly happy. Perfectly happy. I don't have to talk to anybody about it, whatever. If we want to talk, if it comes up in conversation, absolutely, because it's a fascinating conversation of science. Because I'll tell you what, listen to me very, very carefully. I'm in the conversation with a PhD from Canada, and he's still having a conversation with me, regardless of the fact that he knows my position now. I came out because I was having a Zoom session with him to talk about my research. And instead of using Zoom, I assumed that I was going to be able to record, and I went through another medium, and I couldn't do it without paying for it, and I didn't have the money to pay for it, so I couldn't record. And so I didn't record the session that I'm describing to you right now. So I'm sharing all of this information with this guy who is having a conversation with me, and I'm pointing out the fact that the science that is available for people like me, the science that is available is being disavowed by the man who created it. Now, if you go to, let's just do it. Here we go. Somebody go get Bobby Shafto and bring him here, okay? Because this is going to get talked about. Do I have it saved somewhere? Nature of Light. What is this? No, that's me. All right, so we're going to go to, or you know what? Let me see. First of all, I got to get back to what I was just thinking about. Andrew Thomas Young. What am I doing? yeah, let's just do that. So let's go. Andrew sdsu.edu Mirage. Introduction to Mirage. So while this is loading, okay, I have spent 8 years and I have spent thousands of dollars in time, of hours, thousands of hours, thousands of dollars developing my own scientific construct of what we're talking about right here. I could at any moment give a presentation on what we're going to be looking at with enough confidence that I know what I'm talking about, and yet I don't have evidence that what I'm talking about is even understood by the mass mainstream. And what I mean by that to a certain degree is that there are things that I have questions about that their science can't answer because they're not asking that question. So I'm having a conversation with this PhD and he's saying, I'm not really sure I understand why this is important. And I'm like, man, the only way that I'm going to be able to say this is this: it's important because if it is true, and we can establish like testing the claim, right? That is what science is predicated upon. Excuse me. That's the basis upon which science is predicated. Okay. I don't know that I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to say it because I can do it. But if you want me to produce the things that I'm going to, if you want me to produce that which I am claiming in a moment, I think you're going to have to remunerate my time. Okay. If you want to know specifically and with physical evidence what I'm about to say, you're going to have to step it up, because otherwise you're just going to have to take my word for it. And this is the way it is right now. I have had conversation after conversation after conversation, maddening, with Andrew Thomas Young, the creator of all of this information. And I'll give you a couple of things that he's said to me, because as I've asked him simply questions to try to understand what, because I'm coming here. I've been driven here by the winds of change. And what I'm reading doesn't compute and match up very symmetrically with my experience of doing these things myself. So in a sense, Andrew Thomas Young is an armchair refraction science warrior, because all he's done is conceptualize things and then put them down. He doesn't have anything physical to offer. What I mean by that is this. First of all, Andrew Thomas Young has disavowed all of this information in two ways. The first way is he explains to me in emails that I should know from this information that it's all speculation. Listen to that word one more time. Speculation. Okay? This is speculative. That's absurd. I should just stop there. Bobby Shafto, would you like to see Andrew Thomas Young, or you could just take my word for it? Would you like to see and hear in electronic format Andrew Thomas Young disavow this information as speculation? And I should know it. Oh, really? So let's see him disavow it right away. Where's the red lettering disavowal of what's here? This is all speculation. Introduction. First of all, what is a mirage? It's not speculative yet. No speculation yet. Mirages are not optical illusions. It sounds like he's giving us information without any qualification. I'm sorry, Dr. Young. Dr. Young, paging Dr. Young. Where is it speculative yet? How am I supposed to know anything right here is speculation, man? Okay. All right. First of all, what is a mirage? Mirages are not optical illusions. That's true, and it needs to be qualified. A mirage is an optical event that is evanescent. At times, it's very stable, but what I mean by that is it's not going to be there the next day, perhaps, right? Because of the conditions of the medium. So what I can do right now is just pop into my own existence, right? And go back to 2025, let's say. What am I doing right now? Think about the photographs. Is that where my stuff is? Where is what I'm thinking about right now? Okay, I'm tripping out. There's coffee sods. Where the crack is, where are all my photos? It's not in pictures. Is it in pictures? That is weird. That has got to get renamed. How did that get changed? All right. Mirage explanation. Okay. Like, what can I show you? Like, what would you like to see? You know what I mean? Like, this stuff is very, very gorgeously beautiful. All right, let's do this one. Observations in the aether band. Shorelines versus internal reflection. All right. Definition of term. Aether band is a term that I smithed in the beginning of my research because I did all of my own research first. I did not research anything about Mirage. Just like I didn't research how to operate my camera. I just got my camera and just started using it. That's just the way I roll. It's just the way I am. If you're different, then God bless you. You know, my point is, as I'm looking out and observing so many beautiful things, see, I don't want this to get messed up with, okay, I guess I'm just going to do that. So like I'm witnessing this, right? Like this is me behind the camera. The severity of this mirage has eliminated the shoreline. Okay, you cannot see the shoreline. There's the shoreline, but that's in an inferior mirage as well. There's the shoreline still. There is an unobstructed shoreline. We have people in the water waist deep. So we have visibility here. We have direct line of sight to a shoreline 3 miles away. Okay. However, under certain conditions like this, when there's a mirage, there is a limitation to your visibility. Okay. There's a boat right here. Okay, so now, all right, let's go back real quick. Okay, this shoreline is 3 miles away. Now, this is with full optical zoom. So this is not what I would not be able to see these people, right? I wouldn't even be able to see this guy's white t-shirt with my naked eye. It's 3 miles away. 3 miles. Hey, can you hear me? 3 miles away. Right? You can't hear me, you can't see me. So I have to extend my vision with a telescopic lens that has 83 times zoom, which is very, very powerful. Right? This shoreline is 3 miles away. Let me go back real quick to the beginning right here. Okay, so we're zooming. Is this all the same? Yep. Okay, so right. So look, this is all the same video. Okay, so I want you to look at the electricity that's in the video right now, right? You see how the electricity is dancing? You see how it's dancing like that? That's the ether, right? That's the energy. That's the air, right? Everywhere you go is ether. It's how you exist. And ether is a liquid. It's a fluid. It's an ambiotic arena. We are breathing in water. It's just very, very small particulates. Very, very small particulates. But this is water. This is an environment of water. Why do you say that, Travel? Because when you look farther away than just right here, right? Because the way that our metaphysics are created, and I didn't finish the thought that I said before, that we have these experiences of, no, I can't get to it. So the ether is energy, because this does not always look like this. This will not look like this on a daily basis. Okay, but now we're moving through the ether now, and we're coming to a different position, and we cannot see the shoreline here. In fact, the house that's right there, that's a lighthouse, an historic lighthouse on an estuary. This is called Battery Island in Concord Point, Havre de Grace, Maryland. And right behind it is the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. But this image right here, okay, this image right here looks to be touching the water, does it not? I mean, here's the water, ripples and ripples and ripples and ripples and blues and purples and indigos and dark blue and then it's now white. So then what is this right here? What happened right here? Why is this now dark here? This is blue. There's a little bit of flashy white here, right? And then there's dark. Like, what is going on right here? What is this? This looks, optically, it looks to be a single unit, but it's not. It is an inverted image right here where the mouse is, right here where the cursor is. First of all, right here, this is red and this is red. This is the buoy marker. So this is in the water. So this is a really interesting, I guess we'll see it I think in the next image where we can see the shoreline. All right. So this is a mirage. Now, this is optical, and it is also illusory, because this isn't always the way it looks. So then why does it look this way right now? Because it is an illusion. It's just the way the light is presenting itself to you at that angle through the medium in which you exist, which is aether, which is energy. So this entire thing is energy. Look at the trees. See, I'm backing out now. And then I'm going to zoom in. So now you can see so in this one, the buoy is to the left because the buoy is tethered to the floor, but it moves, right? So in this other one, it's to the right, but here is the red buoy marker. But this insert here where you can see the shoreline is in mirage. So where's the shoreline? It's right there. It's right there in front of you, but I can't see it. Why can't you see it? Not because it's over a curve. Okay? That's why this is important, because we have been indoctrinated, and I don't mean anything pejorative by that term, but we have been indoctrinated not to think with some, but you can't help it because we are human. We are awareness. We question our sources. We resist consensus. We say, who told you that? We say, how do you know that? You want me to believe something that you're telling me. Okay, well, whatever. I don't need to believe it. I would rather know it. How can I know this? Know thyself. If you want to know yourself, you have to be still and be quiet and address yourself in ways that correct yourself. Some people don't need to necessarily do that with, intention, I think. Like, everybody's different. Everybody has different levels of development. Some people find things intuitive. Some people find things so natural to do. I picked up the guitar for the first time 2 nights ago. And, I, as a younger man, I only developed as far as I challenged myself. So I was thinking to myself recently, and I have an engineer friend, buddy, Jake. What's up, Jake? Neighbor. And I said, hey, do you happen to have an acoustic guitar that I can borrow for a little bit? And he gave me one. It's been a couple of months, I think, at least a month and a half-ish. And it was just sitting there, because I didn't want to pick it up until I was ready. And 2 nights ago, for some reason, I was listening to one of my favorite independent artists, David Gray, and I love his music. And I just was like, I want to play that. I want to play that right now. And so I found chords that structured that I could do. So I was strumming it for a little bit. But am I going to develop myself more as a guitarist? I would like to. But that's only going to happen if I truly desire it. So there's that, like, who are you, right? Okay, here I am. I'm alive. Now what? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? That's where my idea of childhood education comes in. Simply let the child be with you, the parent, in existence. Well, wait, I have to go to work. No, you don't. You choose to, but you do not have to go to work. My ex and I decided to create an environment wherein for our first three, she was a stay-at-home mom. And then once they started going to school, we thought that it is still, I mean, we're sending them to the school of our choice. It's a private Christian school. And we then regulated the amount of time in class. We're controlling the education system of our children, right? So we're still governing their existence. Why am I talking about that? I was talking about awareness and transformation. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Letting children. Yeah. So again, so one doesn't have to exist in the existence one does not have to continue to exist in the existence in which that individual is existing, unless he decides to. So I can see that I'm buffering. Which then goes back to what I was saying before I got distracted by. So like, why is this buffering right now? Like, why aren't we getting quality streaming? You know? Still buffering. I am so all over the place, but no one's even here. So this is like a diary entry. You know, this is like a journal entry. Somebody's going to find this one day. And who is this guy? Is he still alive? Like, what year is it when you're watching this? How many comments are in this second? You know, whatever. Where is this in the future? My point in right now in this whole contrast of this is that the limitation and the extension and the extinction of your ability to see into the distance is 100% the result of optics, the physics of light. Because everything in front of you just goes in front of you and just continues to go and go and go and go, and you just cannot see that far. Go stand here in southern Colorado at these beautiful Wahatoya, these beautiful breasts of the earth, as they are called. And they're misshapen, right? Just so natural. One's larger than the other. You have this mountain range in front of you. Drive away from here. Why is that thing still suffering? What is going on? There's nobody watching, man. There is nobody here. Hello. Fucking crazy. Smurfing crazy. All right, I'm going to go share this. I'm totally distracted by it right now, but whatever. Right? That's this. Okay, well. All right, that's going to get back up. All right, it's 9:50. Oh, that's what I was going to do. So we're now going to go back to what I'm saying about Andrew Thomas Young. Okay. So it's optical and it is illusory because it's not real in terms of what's the word? What's the idea that I'm got distracted by my text. Optical illusion. Anyway, it's not permanent. Permanent. There you go. It's not permanent. Okay. Mirages are not optical illusions, as many people and websites think. They are real phenomena of atmospheric optics. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, like, why does that have to mean that this isn't what that is? Like, that's what optical illusion means to me. That's this. It's a real phenomenon. It's optical. It's real of atmospheric optics that are illusory because they change. They're not permanent. They're evanescent. And all right. Okay. They are real phenomena of atmospheric optics. Again, why are we reading this right now? We're reading this to expose ourselves to the fact that at no point right now is Andrew Thomas Young what's the word I'm looking for? Dissimulate is the idea that I'm having in my mind. I think that's the word. I think it's you're like disassociating. He's not disassociating. Dissimulate. Dissimilar. Is that the word I'm looking for? Dissimulate. I don't know. Can't get it. Oh yeah. So at what point right now are you supposed to understand that all of this is speculation? None. No point. Zero. Everything that you're reading right now is positive information that you are processing and taking in as an education. You are educating yourself. Oh, I don't know what the hell is mirages. Hey, honey, what should I look up? Look up mirage. I don't know what a mirage is. So look it up. So I want to look up and find out information on what a mirage is. And I come across this website. And right now, it's a website for an educational institution, state university. Right? That's truth, baby. Right? Right? There's a word. Elizabeth, find that word. Chase that word down and bring it to me. It's there, and it's at no point does he dissimulate. I gotta get this word. Disseminate? No, it's not disseminate. It's not disilluge. It's disilluge. Disilluge? No, that's not the word. Let's go, Elizabeth. Come on, baby. Step it up. Okay. All right. So I'm going here to find out about mirages. This is just simply now education, because my only source of information is going to be Andrew Thomas Young or anyone to whom he defers as an expert, right? I mean, this guy is a PhD. He's the expert in atmospheric optics, but in reality, it's more astronomical, astrological. He is an observer of the sky. That's his expertise. This is speculation. Okay? And he doesn't divulge. Thank you, Elizabeth. See that? You see that? That's intelligent awareness. That's your conscious self. If you're a woman, your conscious self, in my opinion, is your feminine side. And here we are now back around to something that I didn't even finish talking about. If you are a woman, in my opinion, your psychological profile is your feminine side is your conscious voice, which means that your subconscious mind is your masculine energy. That's my opinion, because that's my existence, and I'm just simply mirroring that back onto other persona. So I would say, of a man, if you're interested in having this conversation with me, as a man, your outside voice is your masculine energy, and your subconscious mind, which is your operating system, is your feminine side. Tribal, what do you mean about this masculine and feminine side? What are you talking about, bro? Okay, come on back full circle. When you were created in that moment of ejaculatory explosive energy, you were created. And it's my opinion, intuitively, that the imprint of existence in that moment is you. All of the energy, your parents, the position of the sun, the moon, and the stars, the zodiac, everything, position of every butterfly, ant, and everyone having intercourse in all forms and expression. When you were created, that's imprinted in you. Are now all of that potential seed in seed form, in germination, which is why your association with the position of the zodiac, the 12 or 12.5 or 13 houses, I don't know. That's an interesting side mission. But you are made of sperm and ovum, of seed and egg. And both of those are energy. You are energy that has been converted, not created, which means you previously existed in just energy. And then your parents created you with their energy, and then your mother's feminine is your feminine, and your father's masculine is your masculine. And then however the chromosomes work that shit out, I don't know. Like whether or not your sex is female or male, that's your sex. That is your physical body. If I stood up and showed you my goods, you'd go, you're a male, is my point. That's what she said. So your existence that begins with that energy, that's now your subconscious mind, which is your feminine side or your masculine side, depending on which, like I'm saying which. No, yeah. I think, okay, yeah. So here's my point. If you are female, this is my declarative statement of psychology for all humanity, just based on my opinion. This is pure speculation. Your physical sex determines which operating system takes on feminine or masculine. If you are a female, your subconscious mind is your masculine energy that you have to understand and learn how to realize how this voice in your head, which is your masculine energy. But if you don't think that way, you're going to have more conflict because you don't understand where he's coming from, because that's Martian and I'm Venusian. Right? This is just intuitive. It makes sense. Like I should write something that would sell. I'd buy that for $1. Did I just get disconnected again? Weird. It's 10:01. Okay. So how did I get transitioned into existence again, right? But only because I talked about so much, and now I'm coming back to something that I haven't finished, and so I want to encapsulate. You are here because this is church. This is time for worthship. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy of worship. You are worthy of worship. C.S. Lewis said that if we understood humanity in its full capacity of glory, we would worship ourselves. I believe that's true. He had to qualify what he was saying because he had to defer to God as being the splendor of glory rather than humanity, because all you and I know is humanity. None of y'all know divinity except for your own awareness, which you think is just biological you, wherein you are awareness that it was in existence, because science tells us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, which means we live in a system of limitless energy potential. We are not going anywhere. Stop watching movies of propaganda where the earth is destroyed because humanity destroyed it. Like, why are you showing us movies of dystopian potentiality? Because they're trying to create it. I mean, I'm trying to say that, like, at some point, because here again, here's part of my point. If you watch the depiction of Star Wars, the past was better. The past was better. Why? Because Scar didn't come in and destroy it with the Empire. Scar being the one who destroyed the Empire in The Lion King. But it's the same motif. Existence under Mufasa was glorious. And then darkness came in the exchange of energy that it is. That's just the way it is, as far as I can understand it, because we're seeing it right now with all of the exposure that people, with all that people expose themselves to with the media. I just had a content creator for whom I have a lot of respect, Soham Reacts, Soham Reactions. I appreciate him immensely. And yet he felt the need the other day to share heaviness in his existence because of what he was exposing himself to in the media. And it was a side of him that I was surprised to see, because to me, the Jedi powers that he was expressing in his understanding of existence in other episodes gave me the impression that he was very stable. And I don't mean that pejoratively. What I mean as a contrast is he has a choice not to expose himself to something that is going to transfer his energy to a depressing down, right? but he chooses to watch those things. That's on him. So he's creating that experience. But if you listen to him, he'll tell you that same philosophy about his life. He knows that. And yet he's not applying it in this position yet because he's not aware of the connection. So here we are now with the spiritual development. I'm so warm. Oh my goodness. I'll be right back. I do not know why this other computer keeps getting kicked off off the party line, man. Wish I had somebody to talk to, man. Is there anyone I can... Why aren't you showing myself? Share. Anyone wanna hang out and talk? Existential? Brunch, brunch, brunch. Huevos de España, polenta topped with chorizo, eggs, red chili, cotija cheese, cilantro, stacked cheese enchiladas. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Oh man, I was listening to what we're listening to now earlier, and there was this interesting syncopation. See, if I had an audience right now, they'd be able to remind me of where the Smurf I was when I lost my thread. But I was listening to this earlier, and I have it playing almost constantly. I do. I have it playing. Yeah, I mean, unless I have to for some reason. Usually, if I'm watching YouTube on my tablet, but if I'm not, like right now, my tablet is the source of the music and it's on. I'll go out, I'll leave, and come back, and it's on. So it's playing, and then I pull up a voice recording that I had done on meditation, pushed play, and it was just seconds off of itself from the song that was playing actually in real time. Oh, it was crazy syncopation. Pretty fun. Notice. I have dry lips. I'm gonna get my chapstick. Kind of want more coffee. We could always cut this stream and start another one. What am I doing? Chapstick. Can't connect to that network. What you talking about, Willis? All right. Says connected. Refresh. Ay, ay, ay. Get out of here. Okay. Refresh. What is that refreshing? All right. So, a needle pulling thread, law, no to follow, so. We have here no indication that anything here is speculation. Dr. Young, paging Dr. Young, nothing here indicates that you are speculating on anything. So let me know when that is supposed to happen. Mirages are real phenomena of atmospheric optics caused by strong refraction, I'll say, in layers with, I don't know about this, anything about that. And I don't think he does either. Craig Boren, a well-known expert on atmospheric optics, says, I shudder when I see or hear mirages referred to as optical illusions. This is just pure anecdotal, right? This is not scientific. You know what I mean? This is an anecdote. To prove a point, though, these optical phenomena are no more illusions than are images in a mirror. Okay? So if we think about it that way, I can pop over here to my cache of photographs because I've got so much that I can probably show you as demonstrations of what I'm talking about, which is part of my criticism, which is all of my criticism of Andrew Thomas Young. He has no primary experience, nor does he have any physical primary photographic evidence for what he's claiming. And when I pushed him up against the wall for it, and in terms of just asking him about the reality of like, why don't you have this? Why are you just showing pictures that aren't real? Like, show me this in nature. And then when he gets all uppity, very unprofessional. But I can demonstrate those claims. I mean, it's not slander. Here's the picture I wanted to show. Okay. Here we have a photograph, and this is not a mirage. This is not a mirage, but it's very much like one. Okay? It's very much like one. This is a photograph. This is a photograph. This is a photograph I took. This is my own personal evidence and documentation of claims that I have to make. Okay? You can see the shoreline clearly here by the differentiation of the horizon that it creates. The horizon is simply the Greek word. The horizon, the word horizon is Greek. Okay? So when you say the word horizon, that's not English. That's straight Greek pronunciation. And it means division. So your vision here in this image is divided between the floor, there's the horizon, and the ceiling. And now here is the horizon because this is earth and this is sky. So we actually do have, I'm correcting myself from all previous, I disavow all previous claims I have made on having only one horizon. I am now declaring, in opposition to the current science that exists, that there are two only. But horizon simply means division. So your vision is divided by that which you see in front of you. Now, can you tell me the details of the shoreline, please? First of all, if this is not what you can see with your naked eye, then this is much farther away and smaller, right? But just go ahead. Tell me about the shoreline. You can't see it, can you? But it's right there, isn't it? Isn't it? But you can't see the details, correct? So what is happening there optically? There's light. The reason why you can see anything in front of you is light. And when the sun is out, there's daylight. There you go. You got daylight, right? And even you can see the gradation in the sky here. And even in the water. Look at the reflection of the sky in the water. You can actually see the polarization of light better than you can in the original source. That's interesting. Never noticed that until just now. Okay. Now, the difference between a reflection and a mirage is the vanishing point of a reflection This is a good question. Cranking that through. I'm crunching the numbers on that one. A reflection right here isn't a mirage, but a mirage is a reflection. This is a reflection, and this is also a reflection. But they're two different kinds. And man, oh man, there is not in a simple reflection. Okay, so let me do the similarities first. Both of these are a reflection. And as reflections, they have distance to them. Okay? Here's the shoreline, and here is the limit to the reflection of the mountain and the trees, right? You can trace that. So here's the horizon here, and here's the horizon inverted here. Here is the lighthouse here. Here is the lighthouse inverted here. But we don't have a full exposure. Everything here is exposed, but not here, because the reflection isn't created by the same thing. This is created off the surface of the water. A mirage is not. A mirage is in the air at a particular angle of your eye level. And when that happens at that distance, that compression of the environment, which is the aether through which you are looking, when you have a wide angle view of your existence, there's a lot to take in. I can see a lot here in all of my periphery. However, I can only look at one point and focus on that one point. I can see this camera, but I can also see the live streaming, and I can also see the picture of the lighthouse, and I can also see my coffee, and I can also see my hat, and I can, you know what I mean? But that's not clear. Those are not clear. Those are blurry. Even the computer screens and everything right here that I'm not directly looking at, everything is blurry except for right there where I'm looking, where I'm focusing. And if I change right now to here, boom, and I see the N, and that's perfectly clear, that's the only clear point until I look to the next point. So what I want you to understand is that the position of this reflection is a marker for distance. If we put a marker here and then went and looked at it from a side angle, the marker is here and then the shoreline is here. How far away, how long, what's that distance? This is from this tree, from this shoreline right here, where you have everything exposed. There's nothing missing from the shoreline. You could zoom in if you had powerful enough lens. You could zoom in and be able to tell me the details. But you can't do that with a mirage. There's an obstruction of light that is an energy field of optical occlusion. The photographer who took this picture is a physical distance away from everything in front of him. Okay. So let's say, just for instance, this is a smaller lake or whatever, whatever. Let's say it's a half mile wide, whatever. So from him to the shoreline is distance. It's a half a mile. Where would he come across this in that distance? A quarter of a mile, halfway? That's possible. What I'm trying to say is that this reflection is covering distance of water. That's what this does. Except here, it's easier to understand because you can see the water here, but you can't see the water here. Correct? So what causes the limitation to the water? Is this a shoreline? Visually, it is. That's pretty clever, don't you think? I like that. This is the shoreline visually. All right, here's the water above. Here's the shoreline visually. Here's the water. Here's the water. Here's the water. I can no longer see water anymore. I can't see the water anymore. Is it gone? Is this Earth curve? No. This is the limitation of your ability to see the water, but it's not the same here. And so this gets interpreted differently. Okay. Here's the shoreline right there. There's no question. There's nothing missing. My dear doctor friend in Canada, my dear friend who, I talked about this earlier. I've had 2 sessions with him. Can't remember did I record the first session? Can't remember. But I wasn't able to record the second session, and I wished I had because it was very interesting. And what I'm going to say is this: I felt like he was having an existential crisis because he knew what I was saying made sense. That's as much as I'll say about in terms of like how correct I am. I'm just going to say he understood what I was saying and it made sense to him, and he was glitching. But he contacted me and presented me with his own physical photographic evidence and said, how do you understand this? This is Earth curve. Like, I can't see the base of the mountain that far away. And I'm saying that's a product of light. That's not Earth curve. That's a product of light. And he's a doctor in physics. And so I'm trying to just appeal to the simplicity of that. That's how simple this is. Right? Okay? Look how beautiful and crisp. I think this is probably 2019. But here is the channel marker. I always orient my camera this way. When I zoom in as far as I can go, these 2 markers are usually in the top, I think the top left, because they're always there and they can be measured. And so anyway, so you have this entire historical lighthouse that you can't see the base of because the shoreline is, a little bit higher, or it's in front of, maybe it's right there. I don't know. But, tell me what's right there. Can you see what's right here? No, you can't. Can you see the fox that's hiding right? No, you can't. Can you see no, you can't. Why? Light, light, light. You are able to see because of light, and because of light, you have a limitation to what you are able to continue to see at certain times when it's either pitch dark nighttime outside, or you are I don't know what the hell. Can't remember what I was thinking. So we can see this boat here. This boat is not on the shoreline. Do you know what that means? That means that this boat is on the water, which means when you look right here, the limitation to the water is the boat, just like the limitation to the water here is the shoreline. But the limitation to the water here is optical, not physical. This is physical because the land is higher than the water, right? That's where the floor stops. This is where the floor stops and the ceiling begins, because this is the horizon of the floor. This is the division of the floor. If we were to zoom out, this position would stay right there at the focal point of your eye level. You're just simply going, oh, bring it in here, zooming out. Bring it in here, zooming out. Your eyes never go up. They don't go down. They stay right there, and it just comes closer to you or goes farther away. That's the plane of your optical corridor that creates the apparent presentation of this phenomenon called mirage. I hope that makes sense, because that was a mouthful. Say it again. Where is the shoreline in the right pane? Where's the shoreline here? How do you scale that? Because this scale is not the same. Do you see? Look at this. The only thing different about these photos was the condition and the time of day. What that means is this is the focal length of this, but they don't look the same. These trees right here are only right here. Where's the rest of this space here? It's like it came closer to us, which then would cut it out of the frame, which is what it does. Does that make sense? Because it does to me. And I don't need a quadratic equation, Dr. Young, to explain what I just said. Okay? The shoreline is right here. The limitation to the water is in front of this buoy marker. So however far away this buoy marker is, let's give it, say, 500 meters. Are we okay with that? 500 meters. This water line here is in front of this because we can't see this clearly. It's just an illusion. This is not an illusion. This is. But it's also real. It's physically, optically created by nature based on your eye level. So that if you were standing next to a 5-year-old looking out at the same area, your 5-year-old would have a completely different horizon than you. That's not Earth curve. That's not Earth curve. Listen to me very carefully. The limitation of your ability to see into the distance forever is a limitation created by optics, exclusively, only, always, every time, all day long. You never have to appeal to anything else. So when you say, well, what about the curve of the earth? I'm saying, listen to me. No, sorry. Maybe I should start all over again. The only thing that allows you to see is light. And the only thing that limits and extinguishes your ability to see is the same thing in a different expression of energy, because it's a completely different distance away from you. So that if you are looking through a single pane of glass, it's clear. But if you were to stack glass upon glass upon glass upon glass upon, you would not be able to see forever. That's the explanation. You look out because you're, okay, I don't know what questions you have. Like, that's why this exists. Like, you ask me a question, because I'm not going to put any words into your mouth and create a straw man that I can easily disassemble. Okay. Everything that you see here is here physically, but not optically available. It's not optically available. This boat right here conveniently looks like it could be a boat right here, right? I mean, you know, what else? What is it? Otherwise, what else is this? Here are these trees. And if you drop down right here, there's nothing here that looks white. However, this looks white against the background of the green canopy. Yeah, I think so. So now we have a contrast of what this looks like. This is what a boat would look like in a mirage. Okay? So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And you see distance here from the water to the boat. What is this? This is a reflection of this. What is this here? This is a reflection of this. Everything above the floor is mirage until it reaches the target for, or the source for, the mirage. So what that means is that here is this boat. Here is this boat. How does this boat? Okay, actually, look at this. So if I zoom out, oh no. Okay, if I zoom out here, it looks to be pretty stable. All right, let's look at the closest marker to us. Do you see how distorted it looks when you zoom in? But if you're out here, the pixels are smaller and tighter, right? That's like foreshortening, right? It's like the image of the Mona Lisa, which is made up of 1,000 images of the Mona Lisa. But if you look at it from far away, it looks like a compact solid that's like this. That's what the mirage is like. The mirage is this compacting of all of these pixelations of gas, liquid, water, your eye level is a plane of angle that you're looking at things. Anywhere you have it, like it's a degree. You look down to your feet, it's like, call it 0. Or I don't know. No, we'll just stay with what perspective refers to the horizon as 0. That's ground zero. Like, you can't see farther than that. Okay. So right now, the reason why I can't see any farther is because there's a curtain in front of me. And now I'm going to go back to what I was saying before about the Wahatoya Mountains. Stand in front of these two breasts of the earth. You're right there. You can see everything. Nothing is gone. Nothing. There's the base. There's the ground. And that's where the mountain starts. And if you started right there, you would start to go up, right? That's where it's at your eye level. That's where we got to go. That's where we got to go. That's where we need to be. You're in a position where you are exposed to a limited field of view because the Wahatoyas are right in front of you. But if you lift up your eyes, you can see the horizon of the mountain because that's where the terrain stops. And that's where the sky is exposed. What I mean by that is if you were just to back up a little bit more, you would see more sky. That's just perspective. That's just moving. Like you can see around a corner if you move your angle and then you then see around the corner. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you're looking straight ahead, but then I can see, oh, there's something there, and I can look and I'm looking, and then I'm exposed. I'm opening the lens. I'm widening the lens. So if you're standing in front of this mountain range and everything in front of you is right there, there's nothing, there's just the ground. There's the mountain, and then there's the sky. Like everything, nothing is gone. There's no curvature. And you drive away from that position, guess what happens? It just goes like this. And that's it. And it just goes, that's it. That's how simple it is. Stop. That's how simple it is. It just goes away and it goes, and it extinguishes right there where your eyes go at the horizon. If you get far enough away from everything, the only thing that is the floor is the desert. Nothing is in front of you. There's no mountains. You're in Nebraska. And all you can see is the sky, ground, my feet. The sky, the ground, my feet, right? And then to the left, to the right, everywhere around you. Everywhere I turn around, you drive so far away that you get out in the middle of nowhere. Come on, tell me I guys got kicked from this. You tell me that you drive out into the middle of nowhere. You get out into the ocean of the wilderness of the Bonneville Salt Flats or wherever you can go to where there is nothing in that direction. Anyway, right? So here's the way the world looks to you. It looks like the earth goes up. It doesn't ever look like the earth goes down. It never does. It doesn't look that way. In fact, it looks like it goes up because your eye level is higher than the ground, but the ground is below your feet. So how does the level of the ground appear to come up to where it stops? And that's right where I'm looking straight ahead. And so all of that floor is distance. All of that floor is distance. And as far away, you're right here and you're on your little bicycle and you're like, hey, travel, I'll see you later, bro. And I got my camera on you and you're like, squeak, 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 pedal, 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 drink, 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 hydrate, hydrate, breathe, breathe. And as you're going to go up in my field and you're going to go farther away. It's going to go, if you're looking at it from side on, you're just driving away from me straight. But as you're looking at it this way, we have to do this. This has to be a scientific commission to demonstrate how optics work. Because when we're watching one person drive from one place that's level to another, it's level to another. That is, he starts out here and we've got a theodolite right there and it's level, boom. And then we go over here and that's a mile away and the theodolite is level, boom. I'm just saying, for instance, I'm creating the scenario. It's going to look like this. It's a mile away or whatever. It's a mile long. So as you're watching someone go along this way, you're just, there it goes, straight across that plane. That is simply a visual reference to area. Your eye level depends on where you are looking as you just simply rest. Like, what's your resting face look like? And if you just relax and just look straight ahead, that's your level. That's your eye level. That's a plane. That's just a reference of a line of your, but in physics, in optics, in the distance, depending on the conditions of the medium through which you are looking, the conditions and your eye level will be the beginning of this phenomenon. Okay? So here you're standing next to me with your toes in the water, which is where I would set up as often as I could, as close to the water or in the water as I could safely, because it wasn't a very great place to set up. As a matter of fact, I fell in and my camera fell in as well. That's how serious I was committed to the cause, man. Okay, so I'm standing on the shoreline and looking straight ahead. This is, if you can imagine, again, I'm standing at the shoreline. This isn't what it looks like to my naked eye, because this is magnified 83 times. This is drawn 83 times. I can zoom in. Like, I don't know what that means. 83 me, I don't know, whatever. But right here, I have no obstruction except the limitation of optics with my eyes and the size of the objects in the distance. So the boat here, zoomed in here, has a larger angular area than it does naturally to my eye. I can probably barely see that boat really with my naked eye. I'm just saying, for instance. It might be right there, but I can't see it. But it's right there, but I can't see it. But it's right there, but I can't see it. And I could go and find a file where I show you how I zoom out and show you what I can see with my naked eye. And then I would pause it and just let you see what you can see with your naked eye. And the limitation to what you can see when there's nothing obstructing you and there's the shoreline out there, the only thing that can obstruct what you're seeing is light itself, which depends upon the condition through which you are looking. So in the left frame, do you suppose the conditions were the same as in the right frame? Absolutely not. That's why they're not the same. That's why the focal length is the same, but nothing fits. You can't scale anything because this is all distorted. It's magnified or it's diminished. Everything is within this, is in the focal aether. The aether is the focal, it's always on, just like your mind is always on. All right, so now we go over here. We have a different exposure. We have another boat right here and another boat right here. And now we have here what we don't have here. You see, we have the buoy marker, and then here it is, but it is actually doubled now. And in this instance, we have such a great mirage that we can get the entire target right here. So here's my point, is that because this is a new arena for me, and because I don't see this talked about in science, I find this as a viable subject matter that would spark a lot of interest in budding scientists, because there's information about what we're talking that doesn't exist because everybody has been considering the information from an erroneous position. So here's the contrast. Here we have no obstruction to this target whatsoever. We can see all the way to the water. This is the reason why we can't see any more water here, is because there's a physical vertical object blocking what's behind it. But what's behind it? You can see the water behind it. So there's more water behind this point, right? That makes sense, right? But in the next image, we can't see the water touching this anymore. So what's happening here? Because it seems to be apparently in the same position. It's like right there, right? And we know that it's floating on water because there it is floating on water there. It's tethered to the floor and it's floating. Here, it's floating and it's tethered to the floor, but we can't see why can't we see? This is a mirage. This is an optical obstruction created in the air at this angle because that's the way you're viewing it. If you got higher, it would change. If you got lower, it would change. If you got high enough, you would make it disappear. If you got low enough, you would make it get closer to you. It has distance over water, which doesn't exist in the books of science. No one says what I'm about to say to you. I'm the one, as far as I know, and I'm trying to be as humble as possible. What I'm saying is I put a lot of effort into this, and I'm the only one that I've ever heard say what I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, if that's not a scientific spark, I don't know. Just call it something small. It doesn't have to be like, I'm not looking for grandiose acknowledgement, man. But this is important. This is science, and no one knows about this. But if I could if I could inspire someone or someone's to do this kind of hobby, and they had as much existential enjoyment as I have had, then I will gladly push this information to be published as bestly as possible, because this is, to me, majestic, magical, physical, optical, illusory. Okay, so if you're looking at something, okay, here's where that thing is to you. Boom, boom. And then it goes away from you. What happens to it? It goes like this. Here it is, close to you. As it moves away from you, you see the floor in front of it, and it goes away, but the floor is going up optically, apparently illusory, not really. We don't live in a concave earth, which is what it looks like, because if you go all the way around, you're looking at your eye level all the way around, and that is higher than the ground. It's higher, which means which means we live not on a globe, because that's not even what it looks like. It doesn't even look like a flat earth. What are you talking about, travel? I'm just saying, if you think about it and you go out into the middle of nowhere and there's nothing around you, you can't see any mountains, nothing, sky and land, that's just existence. There's nothing more to say. Why can't you see the mountains anymore? We used to be able to see the Walatoya Mountains, but now we've driven away. We've gone far enough away, and they were there. We were watching them the whole time, and they just went. That's what happens. It goes extinction. Because that's what happens with light. Where's the shoreline? It was extinguished. Where's the water? It's extinguished right here in the electricity. Look at this dance right here. Why can't I zoom in? No. Go to the next one. All right. Come on, man. Zoom, please. No, okay. All right. I'm going to try to keep this. All right. Can you see how the green is mixed in here with the blue? This is where the magic is happening. This is where the electricity is being transformed into a surface that is reflective. Because this is not where the water stops, right? Because this is, look what happens. From this position here, I'm moving visually. I'm visually moving up. I'm going higher, but this isn't really two-dimensional. This is three-dimensional. That means that the position of this, okay, hold on. Here we go. Remember, the shoreline is right here, okay? So here is the historic lighthouse. Here is where the historic lighthouse visually stops, and then the foliage of the weedy, reedy shoreline or whatever. This is the shoreline, right? But you can't see where the water touches, but it's right here. It's right there in front of you. And we know that we estimated that the marker was 500 meters. So now we see that beyond the marker, farther away, is another place that we want to mark. How far away is this from here? Because then this has a distance to here. And then we can get a value of the degree of the mirage. And say that typically, for instance, scientifically, you can say this. Let's say, for instance, that under these conditions, because the mirages are different degrees, right? Even a mirage has a different degree, like right here. The shoreline is swallowed up right here. Nom, 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 nom. The shoreline is right here in the middle. But it's not angularly. You cannot do you can't take a faraway snapshot or even a close-up. Like, let's say, for instance, you were standing in front of the entire historic lighthouse and you took a picture. Clunk. You have this. You can see exactly where the base hits the floor, and there it all is. You can't then go and say and shrink it down and go, oh, this can't be what you're saying, Travel, because look, it doesn't match up. My point is that this doesn't allow you to do those kinds of blink test matchups ratio wise. It just doesn't work. And if you don't understand that, the only thing I can say is that's because you have to get out and do it. So imagine this is the very same day. Well, it is. But this is a different time, okay? So look at this. Is August 10, 2019 at 7 a.m., okay? And then this is 25 minutes later. And so you can then see how this has changed. So what would be interesting for me to go back is to see whether or not I might have had, if I only had one camera, then I wasn't filming. I was only taking images. Probably because I have this stamp on here, I've only had the one camera. So I couldn't capture the transition of this. But if you can follow along with me, I'm going to try to explain something and maybe go back to the Andrew Thomas Young stuff. I don't know. We'll see. If I had the other image next to me right now, or next to these two images, where you can see the shoreline in its full exposure, you'll have to imagine that you're closer to it. Okay? So you're closer to the shoreline. You can take a picture and see everything. There's the water. There's the shore. That's the water. That's the shoreline. I've got a picture of it. I can see it. Now you've driven you've motored a few miles away, turned around, and now this is what you can see. Okay? So what I would rather do is film myself going away from it the entire time, because then you can see what happens when you add distance to it and then how it interacts with the air through which you're moving. Because the closer you are, you're going to end up seeing the shoreline eventually, right? If you got into a boat and went closer to this, you would see this part just get closer and closer and closer to this, and then you would see the water touching this. And then the next transition would be there's mirage beyond this until the shoreline. But as you get closer, you're just changing your optics. All of our existence is optical. Everything is light, right? That's just what everything says, right? Everything is light. Everything is optics. So again, now you're going to go farther away, and when you turn around, this is what it looks like here. But it's still right there in front of you. It's going to stay right there in front of you the entire time. if you were filming it right here, here it is in front of us, and you backed up, and it just would go just frame by frame by frame by frame by frame by all kaleidoscopic frame, and it would stay there right in the middle frame. It would stay there right in the middle as you're riding the gyroscopic after your eyeballs, and you remember you're in a boat, you're coming away from it, right? So the water's a little bit, active. But my point is to try to say to you that here you are closer to it. Here you've moved farther away, and now because of the conditions, that's what it looks like. But the shoreline right there is still right there in front of you, right where your eyes look. And then if you move farther away to the right here, everything is still right there at your eye level. It's just getting eaten up by light. If you can imagine, I don't know how to do this. I wish I could do this. I mean, I can show it to you in a certain way, but it's so abstract. You'd have to have a mindset, and it's just like based on my experience, this is how it makes sense to me. As you move farther and farther away from this, and it stays right there, and it goes smaller and smaller, it's moving farther away. It's staying right there at your eye level, higher than the ground. If you look out, there's the shoreline right there. The shoreline's right there, and there's a boat there right in front of you. If that boat goes away from you, it goes up in your field of view, and it gets smaller, and then it just goes under certain conditions. And then in other conditions, you can see it differently. And in other conditions, you can see it differently. But if you had a boat that went out every day, that's what we need to do. We need to do that. Why don't you just park at a harbor and just film every day at that angle where the ships take that lane, and that lane just stays right there in front of you every day? Because you would have to take a wide angle lens shot of where it is in your eyes line. Because again, remember what I'm saying to you. If this were a boat on the water, and it was let's say it was an historic wreck, right? Let's make this an historic wreck. I mean, you could just make this the historic wreck. You could just make this the historic wreck. Please pay attention to what I'm trying to say to you. It's not going to move anywhere. And yet, it will look like this if you get far enough away from it based on how the air is on that day. And sometimes it will... I'd have to find another example of it. But so I'm saying that if you think about this as a field of energy, which it is, right? You're looking through everything. Everything that you see is energy and vibration and frequency and color and light and sound, which is all light and energy and frequency and vibration, right? The farther away you go, that stuff gets compressed into infinity in your vanishing point. Everything that you can see here, if you're at the Wahatoya Mountains, everything that you can see here, if you move away, it just stays right there. Everything stays right there, and it just goes. And then if you keep getting farther away, then everything that you're at right there goes into that place, and it just goes into that place, and it just goes into that place, which is the same in reverse. That if you go into the horizon, you never get to the horizon, but it stays right there. But some days it's higher, and some days it's lower. Why is that? That's only optical. It's that simple. You're saying, well, then why didn't people understand that from the beginning? I think people did. I think that you and I are living in the Animal Farm 1984 existence, where we've had history changed in the past, where the lessons that I learned in the 80s, as far as I remember, the sun was not in motion. The sun was still the center of the universe, as far as I remember. But it's not now. Everything's bigger than that. It's expanding than that. And now the sun is moving too. And so now you have all of these gyroscopic impossibles that are only impossible physically. They're not impossible metaphysically, because the sky is, in my opinion, a field of energy where you have points of energy that are focused that become stars. that show that our environment is eternal, because everything is predicated upon energy. And as we know, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Let me see if I can say it this way. Watch how the water is dancing. You see that? You see that energy? And then look at you see how there's this blur right here, and there's this blur right here, and right here, and right here. This is the dance of the electric. This is the electric dance. You gotta get down to Electric Avenue and let me take you higher, right? Where's the shoreline for this land here? Look how much of the land is here. Do you see? I mean, like, how small is this area? You see how small it's getting? If we were able to back away from this, it would stay right there. And then eventually the sky would come together and swallow that up. Okay, so if you think about this now as a mouth of electricity, nom, 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 if you were to back away from this position and keep the same focal length, the consummation of the meeting of the mirage and the source, which is the sky is the source and the mirage is the point that happens below the line of your perspective. Okay, just get into the hobby, okay? From this position right here, where the V is, right there, that's where the mirage begins, right? But you see this little, like, what is this little explosion here? This little, like, this is the dance of electricity, of the limitation of your optical, like, this is what is limiting your ability to see farther here. It's not going to be difficult, is it, for you to acknowledge when I say to you, this is a mirage, which is an optical phenomenon created by refraction. Yeah, okay, good with that. Yep, okay, great. So what is creating this horizon here? Why can't we see? Why does the mirage not continue? Why does it not? Why do we have water here right now? Visibly, optically, right here is where the exchange of energy changes because of the position of your viewing angle. Your viewing angle allows you to see the floor from your feet all the way as far as you can see until you can't see any longer. And that's where that position is. Now, what I'm saying is, if I could put a boat on this marker right here, I would then know how far away this mirage is from the shoreline, because the shoreline is right here. Because I have other images of the shoreline in, this is 12 miles away. So it's compounded distance, but the shoreline is right there. Yeah, but you can't see it travel, can you? I can't, but it's right there. It's the same answer as it's right here, here. I just can't see it because of the optics. It's just that when there's no mirage, bring, like this, when there's no mirage, look at this sign, this posted sign right here. This is the shoreline right here from the opposite viewing angle. Like if you were standing here with your feet in the water, what would it look like? It might look like these guys over. Oh no, is this the one? No, I lost it. Or was it in a video? Oh no, it was in the video, right? Okay, but just look at how electric this is. This is all optic electricity. This is a presentation of everything in front of you. This is what the distance looks like on this day. This is what the distance would look like as you're looking. This is south from the Concord Point. This is the last amount of water that you can see before the Chesapeake Bay continues farther south, okay? So the reason why you can't see anything beyond this point is because this is the highest point at this point. So you can only see that which is available to your visual plane. Well, why can't we see the shoreline here? Why can't we see the open field? There's an open field here. Because the distance, let's say if we did have a boat here, and we would say that distance, okay, first of all, we know that this distance is 12 miles. But we don't know how far this distance is from, okay, stop. This shoreline from where I'm taking this video is 12 miles. This, I don't know how far away this is from me. But I do know that this land is closer than this land by half. So this is 6 miles away. So then how far away is this from here? Because I have images of the shoreline here. I can show you a whisper of sand that I think that you'd be like, yeah, that's the shoreline. Sure. Okay. But you can't see it here. But why can't you see it? Optical occlusion by refraction. And it covers distance. And this is where science doesn't say this. In science, if you go to Andrew Thomas Young again, whom we are disavowing and disassembling, treats this optical 2D image, because this is up, up, up. He treats a mirage as going up, like this is a vertical wall, and it's not. It's like a reflection on the water, and it's like a shadow. Okay. Just like the tip of this, just like this is the limit to the reflection, right? Here we are back to this. A reflection is not a mirage, but a mirage is a reflection. Here is the limit to the mirage. The limit to the mirage is going all the way across your field of view, but that's not the way this is operating. The limit to the mirage is created by the air, whereas the limit to the mirage here is created by the water. So then that depends on your viewing angle, because if you got lower to this, the mountain would get smaller in both frames. It would get smaller. And if you got, okay, so if you could put someone here where this reflection stops, you would see that the reflection is covering 500 meters of distance. There's water right here. Why can't you see the blue? Why does the blue stop right here? Because that's a reflection. Why does the blue stop over here? Because that's a reflection. Same thing. Different surface, different conditions, but the same optical, electric creation of limitation in full spectrum color. Everything that you can see, right? All right. I have no idea where to go from here because no one's here. No one's keeping me company. Now, I can talk about this because, let's see. No, I'll just keep up with this. All right. So we are disavowing Andrew Thomas Young because at this point, he has not indicated that any of this is speculation. And yet in email, he tells me pointedly and matter-of-factly and a little bit too candidly, what are you, stupid? You should know by the way that I've communicated that all of this is speculation. I mean, that's the way I was treated. All right. In a mirage, there is at least one inverted image of some object. This mirror image is the origin of the French word mirage, which comes from the phrase se mirer, to be reflected, to see one's image in a mirror. The origin of the word mirage is summarized here and is discussed in more detail here if you are interested. Again, there's no qualification here. So he's giving you instruction as an expert to say, hey, go refer here if you want to know more. So if these people don't disqualify themselves by saying, oh, yeah, everything's speculation over here. Don't come on. Don't take any of this serious. Do not take this seriously, because that's what he told me. When I asked Andrew Thomas Young questions about his information, he said, it's speculation and you're taking this too seriously. I have that in email. Thank you very much. At no point right now are we to understand that any of this is speculation. So let's go to another opportunity here, because this is another source of information. Whereas if I'm going to look into atmospheric refraction, where am I going to go? Oh, look at here, the same guy, Andrew Thomas Young, here at San Diego State University. Everybody, go harass, go troll. How about, oh man, how about you go troll this pseudoscience? Man, oh man. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. It's hilarious. Inside information. Looming, towering, stooping, and sinking. Here are some simulations, not speculative simulations. Here are some simulations of terrestrial refraction phenomena. Okay, so what is this? Because he's got a hyperlink. Mirages and green flashes, the topics of this website, are only some of the phenomena caused by refraction in the Earth's atmosphere. To put everything into perspective, here is a list of the main atmospheric refraction phenomena. Phenomenon: normal refraction, prism or wedge. Do you understand that? I don't. Looming and sinking, prism, textbook. I don't understand this. This is not helpful. So this is green flash. We're not talking about green flashes, right? Normal refraction. What does normal refraction mean? Okay, here's my question, right? Before I go here, before I click onto this, do you think he's going to show you a picture of reality for his example of what normal refraction looks like? Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's a phenomenon, right? That means it's real, right? Phenomena caused by refraction, right? You could take pictures of that, can't you? Huh? Honey, can you show me what the hell is it? Where do I see triangles and stripes? I don't know. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? This is speculation. Why? Because he doesn't know how to interpret the optical corridor, because the way that his mind has been forced to consider the fact that the ground beneath his feet is curving away from him, because that is ingrained in him so much so that he is antagonistic to the concept of anything other than Earth curvature. This should not be speculation. This should be an inundation of optical, physical evidence. You should be able to show this to me all day long. And the PhD can't do it. I've asked him, would you like some of my physical photo? Because he does refer to hobbyists in the field, and he does classify their images in his model, but he doesn't show it in science. Like, this is just a huge field of information. And part of what I'm trying to show you right now is that in none of these connections so far has he divulged any dissemblance of authenticity. He's presenting everything here as science. And when I ask him questions about his science, he can't answer my questions. And then he attacks me just as a child would. Nothing like, but he's a petulant person. And that's not slander because I can show it to you. He's petulant. He attacks me personally, intellectually, competently, incompetently. I'm incompetent to talk about this at all because I don't do quadratic equations. But when I say to him, can you show me this out in nature? Like, what does this look like? What does this quadratic equation look like? Because I don't see quadratic equations in nature. So what is this? How far away is this? What does this look like? Is this the top of see if I can find something. Right? So like you have, right? So here is a very acute yeah, this is hard. This is because these don't have categories in science, but here it is. Here it is. And Andrew Thomas Young cannot show you this he doesn't know what this, he doesn't, like this is as confusing to Andrew Thomas Young as this is to you and me. Like, I don't know what this looks like. I don't see this. But we see this, but he doesn't know how to interpret this. So if you're looking here at the platform, here is the target here. This is just like right here. That is a mountain. Do you understand me? Yes. Here's the closer mountain range. And here's the shoreline way over here above, farther away in the distance, because the shoreline is farther away. It's going to be higher in the field of view. The shoreline is this far away. Why can't we see it, Travel? Because there is an optical phenomenon happening right now that's called a mirage. And that is completely distorting, displacing, and refracting the entire field of view. So you have the top of the tower or the top of the platform here. I don't know how high that is. Let's say it's 100 feet, just for instance. So this is already, well, yeah, because this platform in the distance is on the water, it's vertical, right? So this is vertical. So if this is going to be a proper vertical and they've got the measurement, we know how high the crane is because that moves. We know how high the crane is from the surface of the water. It's 250 feet. Okay. So what that means is that from here all the way down to the surface of the water, which is right here, is 250 feet. But that's impossible angularly. Like the ratio doesn't work. It won't fit. But the refraction doesn't give a smurf about that. That's the whole point. We have to understand this phenomenon of of angular space and distance and how it affects its position to us, because you see how purple and beautiful the water is. And then we see this limitation. Like, what is the limitation here? Why can't we see any more purpley water? Because the electricity vibration energy is creating a mirage, which now is covering the rest of the distance until you get down to Ventura, which is what is here in the background. Or this could actually maybe be Camarillo. That could be the, maybe those are the Caneo Mountains that he's always talking about, and I just never think about it. So maybe there's Camarillo. This is where I live. This is where I grew up, down here, right? That's straight ahead. It's just getting nommed into the distance. And that happens by electric exchange, which is how these mirages move. It's electric, it's visual, it's optical. But this doesn't help you. This is not reality. This is not reality. And when I asked him, where can you show this to me? And he says, do you think I could just, you think I just go out and just order up nature to give me what looming looks like? I'm like, no. I said, can you show me what looming looks like in nature? Why don't you have a picture of it? Would you like some of mine? I can give you a picture of every atmospheric phenomenon that you would ever imagine. Check this out. To compare with the standard atmosphere case, okay? Standard atmosphere. I have Andrew Thomas Young pointing me to an article where he disavows this concept. And yet here he is referring to it because it's convenient to talk about it. That's the science here. That's where he is going to say to me, this is where you should be able. And I'm like, yeah, this takes an intelligent person to not just, so I knew this from a long time ago that this was bullshit. I just didn't put it into the nice way of couching it the way that he is trying to be, maybe backhandedly complimentary to me, like you're adult, because I'm telling you right here that all of this is speculation if you know how to read between the lines. That's called fraud. Sorry, that's just all that is. That's fraudulent. Okay, so he says to compare with the standard atmosphere case, click here. All right, so let's click there. So, and now it's going to be looming. This is now going to be looming. It looks like. Why is this taking so long to load? All right. Looking up my show. Hey, Dan. Sorry. So I just saw that you're there. You want to talk about magnification and demagnification? Yeah, if you want to put a question in, I'm aware that you're here now. If you're still here, sorry, I was just by myself for so long. I just didn't keep looking. Okay, so what are we doing right here? To compare with the standard atmosphere case, click here, which is this standard atmosphere case. Here we go. That example of normal refraction is shown here at the left, okay? Listen very carefully to me. I'll get to you in just a moment, Dan. I keep complaining about what? You know, man, if you're going to be correcting my platform, I'm not interested in having this conversation. I keep complaining no one can join. Okay, listen very closely, Dan, please. I'm not interested in having a debate on my performance here, okay? I was live for a very long time all by myself, so I stopped watching. Okay? Now that I'm looking, I was going to invite you to be a part of the show, but I'm not really interested in this kind of tension. Okay? Because I don't know what you're saying by I keep complaining. What was if I'm complaining about anything, I think I'm complaining about Andrew Thomas Young. Sorry, I just told you I'm not interested in this at this point right now. But when you say you keep complaining, there's nothing there about which I'm complaining. What am I complaining about? Because I was talking about refraction a minute ago. Oh my God. Bye. Yeah. Okay. All right. What I'm trying to demonstrate, Bobby Shafto. Attention, Bobby Shafto. Somebody timestamp this part right here. Attention, Bobby Shafto. Andrew Thomas Young has told me pointedly this is speculation. So, at what point when you're reading this are you aware that this is speculative? Here are some simulations of terrestrial refraction phenomena that do not involve mirages. This is not true. This is not true. The 4 types named in the title all involve refraction anomalies. This is not true. But without inverted or multiple images, and therefore without mirage. It's not true, which is why this science needs remedial work. Okay? It's the science about which I'm complaining. The same format. What does that mean? The same format used in the mirage simulations. Again, I think this is where we were the first part. I'll let that load. For some reason, my connection is slow. I don't know. Okay. The same format used in these simulations is used here. The target, why isn't it a physical reality, doctor? Why do you have to do this? I can show you reality. Like, why do we have to do you know why? Because if he shows you reality, you're going to have a conflict in your mind because reality is not going to match up with his model and the way that you've been taught how to understand your existence. They have to do this because this is how they do the wizarding. They have to do this as a magic spell. They have to show you things that are just like, this is the way we diagram reality. Oh yeah, can you show this to me? What do you think? We could just go out in reality and take pictures of reality? What do you think? This is reality? I mean, this is how ridiculous this. I felt like I can't believe I'm talking to an NPC like this. Okay. A mirage is an image of something. So before making simulations of mirages, you have to decide on what object is to be miraged. Why can't you just use my research? Because you don't have any research. And so now this is a strange thing to me. You don't have any research that you can attribute to equating with what you're trying to diagram. And you have a rabid armchair warrior science buff. Like, I love this. I love this. This is my this is my muse. This is my muse. The Aether Band is my muse. And the Aether Band is a term that I smithed because I was trying to make sense of these things that I was filming. And the way that it made sense to me was to talk about it in this way. So the band in this particular photograph, the band here starts where the mirage limit is. This is the limit of the mirage. This is the top of one of the platforms. This is the top of one of the platforms. I have them on the other side, photographed from the other side as well. But I'm in Santa Barbara here, and I'm looking south, and it's early in the morning, and here you have the sun is not up, And here you have a severe mirage. And the physical target is here, but the physical image available takes up way too much space because there's only this much left. That's how like acute that angle is. Now this is going a little bit farther because that's in the distance. That still is going to have this same principle be there, but you know it's farther away in the distance. Let's talk about the angle of the degree here, because that's what I was thinking about a moment ago. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. The limit to the mirage, right? Okay, so here's the tower here. This is the physical part. This is the physical part. And this is one of the telltale signs of a mirage when you have a physical target, is that you're going to have these carets. This is the greater than sign caret, bump, bump. And this is the lesser than sign caret, gonk, gonk. But look how little the bottom caret is, right? That's because this is a magnified and a much distorted and displaced refraction phenomenon, because the amount of the mirage is so small, but it covers a great distance. This is a very long way away, but the amount on the reflective surface, right? Let's say, for instance, that's you. This is where you're looking out into the distance, and I'm one of these targets, right? Okay. There are times when you can see the full target, and there are times when you can't. There are times when you can see the full target, and there are times when you can. There are times, and it looks different every single time. Every single depth of the mirage has a different degree because of the conditions, and there is no science on this. There is no science on this. I'm going to say this again. The reason, the good doctor up in Canada, the reason why my research is important is because the science that is available is not talking about the science that is observable. And he says, oh, this is such a niche, topic. Not too many people. I'm like, and I said, the way that you prove that claim is to release my information to the public and see how niche this stays. This is not going to stay niche. Okay. This is how the creation of geniuses is created. You give them an open door to science. You say, what is this? We don't know what this is. Can anybody help us out? Like if I went to a stadium of 10,000 people and presented evidence against the model which all of these people believe in, and say, the only reason why you can't see far enough away is because of distance and optics, and that's it. I mean, distance, perspective, that is all like, right? Distance, perspective, and elevation. Because if you change your elevation, you see farther. You don't see over a curve. You see farther, because that out there is never curving away from you. It doesn't even look like it. In fact, it looks like it's going up. It looks like it's going up, which is why you have a discussion of concavity, which now takes me back to the fact that I saw that earlier. Here we go. Okay. To compare with the standard atmosphere case, click here. It looks basically the same. Right here. Oh, no, is that it? Standard atmosphere. Wait. That's more severe. Hold on. I thought it was the other one. This is looming. Oh, is looming and sinking is different. Okay, hold on. This is the standard atmosphere. Okay, hold on. I need to get things clarified again. This is a target. It's the top of the target. What is this target? It's this target. And this is all we can see, right? This is all we can see. Can you show us something like this out in nature? The only time you can is if you have massive amounts of distance, and that's basically the open ocean, right? And then this is the top of an island, which I have all of this. We could use the Anacapa Islands and the Channel Islands shipping lane for all of these examples, for which he has no use, because this is the only way he can get away with presenting his model. If he showed you reality, the model would be disassembled, which is what happened to me. I went out and looked at the reality and not a model, and sat there and let Mother Nature teach me about her reality. And I can explain all of this to a certain level of expertise based on, again, my position. But again, I would say this, because I mean, there are certain pockets, and I don't speak Portuguese. I am so dry mouthed right now, cotton mouthed. Might go get some. Holy cow! I got 20 minutes before my billiarding. Oh, Smurf, yeah, man, Smurf, yeah. Look, man, if you're still out there, I love you, but I just don't want that energy. I tried to make that clear on our last phone conversation. I just am not that guy. So if you want to join, then just ask. And if I see it, then, and if it works out, then I'll make it happen, man. I wasn't ignoring anybody. And there's no reason to bring up the past, because the past was interpreted from your rose-colored glasses. You interpreted that interaction in your fashion, and I could see it, and I don't want to be around that energy, man. So next time, just show up and say, hey, can I join? And if I've got that mojo going, then you can join. That's it. Next time, I'll do it. All right. About twice as much of the target is visible in the looming model as in the standard one. Okay, so this is his example of what reality normally looks like. Here's something that normally looks like this. But sometimes in certain atmospheric refractive cases, it looks like this, which means it's magnified, brought closer to you. I don't know. Like, I know what I've photographed. I know what I've filmed, and I know what I would catalog as looming. And I'm not sure this is it. And he can't show me what his looming looks like in reality. Otherwise, why isn't there an authentic primary source image? Okay. About twice as much of the target is visible in the looming model as a standard one. Remember, this is his own creation, and he's just making this up. This is speculation. This is an idea of convenience, talking about standard atmosphere, which doesn't exist. He wrote an article against the standard atmosphere reference in this discussion. It does not belong here, and here he is just conveniently throwing it in as a happenstance. You know, might as well just talk about it. Right? Normally, the mountain looks like this, but in certain situations, when you're still 10 kilometers away, see, you haven't moved anywhere, you're still 10 kilometers away, it looks like this. Here's my challenge to him, and I said this. I can get the same effect without moving. Listen to me again. I can see less of something in one position at one focal length and not move. And then in another day, see it completely in a different position, in a different distortion, and I haven't moved, and it will fit these descriptions. And we don't have to appeal to this stupid part right here. This is stupid, because this is perfectly explained by the limitation of optics through refraction and perspective over distance. It's as easy as pie. If we were a boat, and I got to wrap this up because I got to get ready for billiarding. if we were on a boat and this was what we could see, and we went farther and farther and farther away from this, what would happen is the sky and the water would get closer and closer and closer and closer together, and everything in between it would go num, num, num. And it would still be there, still be there. And as you move farther and farther away, everything just gets nom, 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 nom. Just gets nom, 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 nom. That's just that in reverse. Get on your boat, aim at the horizon, and it will just keep getting unnumbed. You'll see everything just get bigger. Like, where did this land come from? How did we get to Japan? We just sailed across the Pacific. We just sailed across. How did we get to Spain? Like, land ho! 3 months later, right? Everything in the distance, we can't get there. We can't get there. We can't get there. And then all of a sudden, there's a little dark speck. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it just gets unnumb-numbed. And everything gets developed in the simulation of what is the visible field spectrum of light. That is a simulation. This is a simulation. What you're watching right here, you can watch these things change before your eyes if you have enough patience and enough film. Film. All right. If you've made it this far listening to the sultry sound of my voice, I would love for you to like be one of those people who say, like, who's here in 2051? Because I'll be 80-ish. You know, that'd be amazing if YouTube still existed in 30 years and all of my content, this thing that I'm creating right now, like in 30 years, what's this information? Like, I don't know, because there's a limitation to my exposure. I just am convinced of it. But I got to get going because I got some balls to break. Yeah, so thank you so much. If you have not yet subscribed, please make sure you do. Make sure you smash that Fonzarelli. Please, please, please make sure you smash that Fonzarelli. Or don't, but if you don't, make sure you hit the thumb down of the great emperor. What was Joaquin Phoenix's character in Gladiator? But thumb down, thumb up, either way, trigger the algorithms. Leave me a comment. How did you find the channel? And if you would like me to address something, specifically, ask me a direct question. Just ask and I will address it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you want to come back on, again, you are more than welcome. Just let me know that you're there and I'll make sure, you know, like, where's my phone? You have my phone number, right? My phone's right here. Could have just said, hey, love to join you. I would have been happy as pie. Would have done it right away, immediately, because I was in the mood to talk to somebody. This has been another exciting adventure of Radio Free Anarchy. I hope you have a blue sky day. I hope you have a blue sky day. My Majesty, King or Queen, I worship you. The light and divine intelligence in me recognizes and loves and worships the divine intelligence within you. Until next time. What the heck? I can't see anything. Blinded by the light. Man, there's so much to dissemble in this. Where's Bobby Shafto, man? Blinded by the light. Revved up like a deuce. Another runner in the night. Blinded. Doggone it. Total internal refraction occurs only when light moves from a denser to a less dense medium and the angle of incidence exceeds. I mean, look, that makes sense to me, man. Right? But if you, I'll just agree with you. I will just agree with you. But I will say this. Andrew Thomas Young wrote a paper against TIR, and I found myself so frustrated. Maybe I should do this. Okay, Okay, Elizabeth, note to self to remember this note. I am making a mental note to Elizabeth, my attaché, my feminine side, my subconscious Beautiful, Elizabeth. I love you. I need to remember to consider writing a response essay to Andrew Thomas Young's rebuttal of total internal refraction, because I found myself agreeing with his description of the man, like it was like a straw man. Like, can't remember if there was a direct quote or not. There might have been, but regardless, it was just, again, Andrew Thomas Young saying, this is what this guy thinks. And it was total internal. I'm like, I agree with this guy that you're tearing apart. Like, Andrew Thomas Young needs to be dethroned. He needs to be dethroned. And you got Bobby Shafto making comments on Pablo's dog's glorious collection of evidence. You can't believe flat earthers are still trying to say that Andrew Thomas Young needs to be corrected. I mean, I don't know. Like, man, I do not know how to understand how a grown man can just make those kinds of silly statements without the awareness that I have. I know more than Bobby Shafto does, and Bobby Shafto is screaming out, you guys are saying that Andrew Thomas Young needs defended, but he doesn't. And then I have evidence from the horse's mouth, Bobby. All right. All right. Dan, you've obviously left the building. If you ever see this, I love you, and you're welcome back. And I hope you have a blue sky day.